Any other questions about the practice? Okay.
I've been thinking about the emptiness of Buddha's mind and the emptiness of our mind, and I'm not figuring out yet if it's the emptiness of something, how they're different.
Well, that's the point. In terms of emptiness, the emptiness of our mind and the emptiness of Buddha's mind, there is no difference in terms of them both being at the emptiness of inherent existence. But because emptiness depends on the basis, which is empty, then the emptiness of our mind depends on our mind, and the emptiness of the Buddha's mind depends on the Buddha's mind. And since our mind and the Buddha's mind have different levels of spiritual awakening, then, in terms of that, then that emptiness is different, okay, in terms of the basis of the emptiness, okay? Yeah. So I, just as a comment, I'm not sure who translated this. I'm going to try and rework it a little bit to make it, our vocabulary. And then there's some things too, I would, that I won't be able to rework because my Tibetan isn't that good in any way. I don't have the Tibetan text. But, I would like to rework this a little bit, some of the vocabulary. Yeah.
I guess it's a typo on Vajradhara.
It's what?
Is this Vajradhara on the blessing by the master?
Yeah.
Mantra.
Yeah. It's Oma Guru Vajradhara.
It has an A. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I was going to follow up on her question, but
Go ahead.
But also, the source of this Wami issue, Wisdom Archive translation might be helpful too. We'll find.
Oh, there's
a translation another translation, Wami issue, Wisdom Archive. I understand.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah, see if you can find it. Okay. Yeah.
I have a question about this. So I noticed there were times when you had your hands in prayer pose, and I wasn't sure when, if I'm just reading this, I wasn't sure when to do this or not.
When to do what?
When to, have your hands in when's it's a prayer.
Oh, okay. Okay. So when you take refuge, yeah. So verse 1, verse 2. Okay. 3, not necessary. And then when you do the 7 then prayer, it's good to do that. Your hands together. When you do the mandala offering, your hands are like this. By the way, and the retreating, the requesting branch of the 7 then prayer, where you're requesting for teachings, then you imagine offering an 8-spoke Dharma wheel to your master, because that represents turning the wheel of Dharma. And when you do the branch on entreating, requesting the Guru and the Buddha to remain until samsara ends, then you imagine offering a double vajra. Double vajra is what's on here. That symbolizes stability and long life. Okay, the mandala offering, the gesture. You can put your palms together during the prayer of the graduated path, but it's not necessary. And then at the dedication verse you do. Okay? Mm-hmm.
And it doesn't specify a particular form of Avalokiteshvara, so...
Oh, it says forearm.
It does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't think there's a problem if you make it 1,000-armed. Yeah. 1,000-armed can push 4-armed out of the way. Joking. Okay. Yeah.
Technical question. When it says on page 3, you have the wisdom being and then the concentration being, and then when my master's taught us about Om, and then I just heard a blue hum, so I didn't know how to visualize the Ri and the hum.
Okay. So there it's saying on the master, so you're going back to His Holiness's body, and that has the Om Ha Hung. Yeah,
You don't
but
have wisdom concentration being anymore in your visual.
no, you still do. You still do that, but you see you have His Holiness body. Inside that is the forearm. Inside that is the concentration being Hri. Okay? And then on His Holiness body, you have the Om Ah Hung. And like Rinpoche was explaining, the Hung is in the Gigu part of the Hri that's inside Avalokiteshvara's heart. Okay? It's kind of, like those dolls from Russia? Yeah, where there's, one with the, yeah. So it's like that, They're all kind of the same, and the heart of all of them, is the same place. Okay.
And this can be integrated in the global yoga too, or you have to do this separately. If you want to do this global yoga.
Well, this is a Guru Yoga practice, but you still, if you're doing the 6-session Guru Yoga, you still have to do that.
Yeah, of course, but we can put that into your 6-session Guru Yoga practice.
No, I would do these two practices separately. Yeah. Yeah. If you're, let's say, doing the Nundro to do Guru Yoga, the Guru Yoga Nundro, you could use this practice and then do 100,000 of His Holiness's name mantra. Okay. Yeah.
Can I go back to my follow-up question from Venerable Santo's question? I wrote this down yesterday, and I don't think this is right. That our mind, our conventional mind is covered by layers of adventitious afflictions. Our mind is covered by these afflictions. Thus, the emptiness of the mind is also polluted. That's not.
Yeah. In term, the emptiness of the mind is not polluted by inherent existence, but because it's one nature with the conventional mind, which is polluted in the sense that it's covered, then that natural purity of the mind can't completely, it's not the Buddha's nature dharmakaya.
Right.
Okay?
But it's there.
But the empty...
It's there.
It's just because it's covered.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's the conventional mind and its ultimate nature are one nature. You can't separate them.
But can you say that emptiness is polluted? Or is that was just...
Yes, I had that same question. Emptiness is not polluted from the viewpoint of it being emptiness. Okay? From the viewpoint of it being the ultimate nature of a polluted mind, maybe it's better to say it still needs to be purified.
That mind,
yeah.
Conventional mind.
And by purifying the conventional mind, you purify the emptiness. Okay? Because you're seeing emptiness is here and the mind is there. So this one's covered by junk, and that one's inherently pure.
Yeah.
Okay? That's how you're seeing it. They are completely, you can't have one without the other. They come in one package. So by this one being covered, even though this one, is and also the pollutions have not entered into the nature of the conventional mind. But because these two are together, this one still can't sparkle like the ultimate nature of the Buddha's mind does, because it's the completely together with the polluted mind. Okay? So as you uncover this one also gets purified. Not because it was ever inherently polluted, but because it's the ultimate nature of that one, and they come together as a package.
Can we say instead of it's being purified, it's just being shown like
well,
it just comes out?
But how is it coming out? Because you have to remove the impurities.
Yeah.
Okay, you have to remove the impurities.
So would it be fair to say that
the conventional basis, that what you were just saying, sort of the conventional basis needs to be purified.
Yeah, and by purifying that, you also purify its ultimate nature. Okay. Because it would sound funny, wouldn't it, to say that the two things that are one nature and totally inseparable, that one is polluted and the other one isn't? Yeah? So it doesn't mean the pollutions are inherent in it. It doesn't mean that emptiness has become defiled. It just means that it can't shine because it's the emptiness of a polluted mind. If it could shine, it would already be the wisdom dharmakaya, it would already be the nature dharmakaya of a Buddha. Okay.
Say all phenomena are pure, but
yes, that's what it means, that it is not inherently, it is pure of being inherently existent.
Right.
But it is still covered by adventitious defilements. Think about it.
But it's all the same. The ultimate nature of every phenomenon is
the same. The ultimate nature of all phenomena is the emptiness of inherent existence. There aren't two ultimate natures. Okay? And the ultimate nature, in the early days they used to translate it as, the absolute truth or the absolute nature. I think that translation is very misleading because we think of an absolute truth as something out there, independent, unrelated to anything else. And that's how you're thinking of the emptiness. It's out there, inherently existent, unrelated to the mind, but in fact it's one nature with the mind. This is the whole thing about the two truths, is they are contradictory, but they are one nature. Contradictory means that something that is one is not the other. One nature means that you can't have one without having the other. Okay? No one said this was easy to understand. But it challenges our way of thinking and how we like to put things into boxes. Okay? And when you really think about it, then, you begin to understand how ultimate and conventional truth are one nature. They're inseparable. You can't have emptiness without having an object that is empty.
Right.
Yeah, you can't, can you? Emptiness is not out here and then polluted objects over here. Emptiness is there. In fact, polluted objects can just vanish, and all objects, everything can vanish. Nothing exists, but emptiness remains. That's wrong. Yeah, because emptiness is the nature of everything, whether it's a polluted object in samsara or a pure object of nirvana. Emptiness is its mode of existence. Okay? And emptiness is a non-affirming a negative, which means that it's not implying anything positive. When you say the words empty of true existence, it's not implying any positive phenomena. But we think emptiness, there it is, don't we? We think of emptiness as, it's empty, but here it is. We still think of it as some kind of positive phenomena there. It's just, void of anything in it, but it's still positive. Wrong. Okay. It's just the lack of inherent existence. Nothing positive is being implied. Nothing. It's just empty of inherent existence. Basta finito. Okay? Then the positive phenomena is like the mind or the cup or whatever it is. Okay? Okay. Shall we continue looking at the sadhana a little bit? See, this is why we need to do purification and accumulation of merit. Because when we do these things, then it frees our mind of a lot of the obstacles and enriches it so that we can begin to understand some of these things. And while you're doing the purification and collection of merit, you imbue that practice with seeing things as dependent, arising, and empty at the same time. So you are still contemplating the two truths together. Yeah. When you're saying things are dependent, arising, and empty, that's the two truths together, right? Isn't it? Yeah. Okay. And how when somebody who has realized emptiness sees something as a dependent arising, they just automatically know it's empty. And when that person who's already realized emptiness focuses on emptiness, they automatically know that there's some dependent arising there. Okay, so they mean, that emptiness is the meaning of dependent arising is the meaning of emptiness. Okay, so now we've come to the mandala offering. So both of these practices have the mandala. Yeah, the first verse of offering is the same. The rest of the verses of offering is different, but they're both mandala offerings. And both of these are called the short mandala offering. The long mandala offering is when you say the whole thing of, Om Vajraphensah, Om Madigram. When you start from there, that's the long mandala. And then when you just say the actual offering verses, that's considered the short mandala. And so the outer mandala is the one, this ground anointed, the one that we often sing. Okay, and then you have the inner mandala in the red prayer book. Okay, and that's called the inner mandala because you're offering something that is belongs to the consciousness. It's internal to the sentient being. So specifically, with the inner mandala, you're offering the objects of your attachment and aversion, ignorance, friends, enemies, and strangers. Okay, your body, wealth, and enjoyments. But there's a very nice visualization of how you offer your body. And I really encourage people to do this visualization of dissecting your body and having it transform into the mandala, because it really, really helps you get rid of the attachment to your body and to think of giving this body away. Because at the time of death, that's one of the things that we cling to the most is this body, because that's what we hang so much of our identity upon. And we're separating from it. So, who am I? At the time of death comes up very strongly. But if we just get really used to offering our body, giving this body, transforming this body into the universe and giving it, then we don't cling so much to it. Okay? And when you think about it, when you think about what this body is, blood and guts and sweat and pus and blood and intestines, it's like, would you offer that to the Buddha? Yeah, if the Buddha came here, would you offer him all that stuff? Well, so that's why you have to transform it into something beautiful. Okay? And so our skin becomes the golden ground. Yeah? Our hands and feet become the 4 continents. Our upper and lower arms and thighs and calves become the 8 subcontinents. Our intestines are the rings of the golden, the 7 rings of mountains. Our blood is the oceans in between the mountains. Our stomach, our torso, actually, our whole torso, is Mount Meru. But it's kind of like our stomach, big as Mount Meru. And okay, our head is the jewel at the top of Mount Meru. Our eyes are the sun and moon. Our ears are the parasol and victory banner. Okay, and then all your other internal organs become all the other things that you offer in the mandala, plus all the goddesses and everything like this. So you've taken everything in your body and you've transformed it into the parts of the external mandala, and then there's nothing left of your body to hang on to. Yeah, so there's nothing. You've transformed it into this external world, which is very pure. You've made it into a pure land, and then you offer all of that, and so there's no more polluted body here that is you or is part of you or that you're stuck in or anything like that. So I think psychologically, personally I found it incredibly helpful for loosening the attachment to the body. Yeah? And when you think of it, I think of all the awful ways that people sometimes die, and that people do die by their body getting sliced apart, or blown apart by a bomb or whatever. And if you've done this meditation again and again of, transforming your body into the mandala and offering it, then it doesn't matter how you die. You've offered it already. It isn't yours. It isn't you. You don't need to cling on to it. Yeah? And so very, very helpful. And especially, most people have all sorts of issues with their body. Oh, I wish I was taller. I wish I was shorter. I wish I was thinner. I wish I was fatter. If you have light hair, you want dark hair. If you have dark hair, you want light hair. If you don't have any hair, you want hair. If you have a lot of hair, that's unruly, you wish you had less hair. It's like we always have something with our body that we don't particularly like. My ears are too big, my eyes are too far apart, my eyes are too close together, my complexion, I have too many zits, I don't, freckles are in and I don't have any freckles are out and I have them. You know what it is. How we're taught to be totally dissatisfied with our body. And so this meditation is so good because your whole body, you change into something else and offer it. Yeah, so you've made it into something beautiful and you've given it away. So you don't need to be all, oh my goodness, how do I look? And, more gray hair, this is terrible. What am I going to do with these wrinkles? I criticized Botox before. Maybe I should go for some Botox treatment. It's not that bad, And then, I wouldn't have any wrinkles. I'd look so much better. Then more people would be attracted to me and thus to the Dharma. So for the benefit of sentient beings. Yeah? Okay. So, you just cut all that stuff. You just cut it, and you give this body away, and it doesn't belong to you, so it doesn't matter, how it looks. You keep it healthy, yeah, you keep it clean, because you got to do that in order to use it for practicing the Dharma, but you stop, worrying so much about it. Your stomach hurts. You change your stomach into Mount Meru and you offer it. You have a headache. You change it into the jewel on top of Indra's palace on top of Mount Meru. Yeah, goodbye. You offer it. Yeah? Very, very helpful. Really helpful. Okay. Okay, so actually on the in the yellow, the second verse is like an inner mandala, because it says, together with other pure offerings and wealth and the virtues we have collected throughout the 3 times with our body, speech, and mind. So it doesn't mention explicitly offering your body, but you're certainly offering your wealth, other pure offerings, all your virtue. Yeah, and you're imagining your virtue transforming into all these beautiful things and offering that. Yeah, and don't be afraid to offer your virtue and your merit. Yeah, I love telling this story. When I first lived in Singapore, there was one man who came and he wanted to learn to meditate, and so one afternoon I taught him meditation, and so it's a natural part of that. At the end you dedicate, and I explained that we dedicate all of our merit. We give all of our merit away, for the benefit of sentient beings, and dedicate it for our own and others' enlightenment. And he looked at me with these big eyes. He said, "But I don't want to give my merit away because I don't have very much." And on one hand, I really respected that because he really believed in karma. He believed that there was, you create bad karma and you create good karma, and he was realizing that good karma, merit, is something that's very important. So in one way, I really respected that in him. Yeah. On the other hand, he didn't understand that the more you dedicate your virtue, the more you give it away, the more you stabilize it, the more it increases, and the more it will ripen for whatever you happen to dedicate it for. Yeah, so I had to explain to him, please don't be afraid of giving away your merit. It actually benefits you to do that. And when you think of it, that our merit is one of the basic things we need to really progress along the path, especially if we're doing the path for the benefit of all sentient beings. We should dedicate our merit, for their welfare and for our own enlightenment, not because it's my enlightenment, but because with this, when I attain the enlightened state, I'll be able to benefit others better. Okay, and then the last verse is more a request, in the yellow is more of a request put together with a mandala offering, and you often find that with a request you make a mandala offering. Like when we do a long life puja with Lama Chopa, when we offer when we say the verse requesting the spiritual mentor and the Buddha to remain until samsara ends, we do a mandala offering and then recite that verse in the 7 limb prayer. So you can do it like that. So it says, "O my masters, my yidams and the 3 precious jewels, I offer all to you with unwavering faith. Accepting these out of your boundless compassion, send forth to me your inspiration." Okay, so it's requesting inspiration from the 3 jewels. So that's kind of, that verse there is, we have the request verse in the red book. Yeah, that request verse, which is a little bit longer, the one, "O Arya compassionate-eyed one." Yeah. So the idea behind requesting, making requests to the Guru deity, is the prayers are often worded as, please inspire me, please grant me the realization of this and that, but it's not that the Buddha, the Guru Buddha from outside inspires us, or they say, okay, here's this realization, and give us this realization. Oh, thank you, I requested it and I got it. I gave you some bananas, you gave me a realization. Oh, Buddha got an apple today too. Things are looking up. Yeah. So now I want 2 realizations, not just 1. Yeah. But it's not that the Buddha does that, and that we're doing business with the Buddha, okay? But it's that we're putting in words our deepest heartfelt wish and aspiration, and we're requesting the Buddha to, please participate in helping me to realize my deepest heartfelt aspiration. Yeah. And the Buddhas, have some ability to give inspiring energy to us. Yeah. I mean, you know that just because, you know how when you're around some people you feel really inspired? Yeah? And it's not that the person gives you something, it's just there's who they are, there's some inspiring energy and you feel inspired by it. And that inspiration is a transformation inside of you that helps you to practice. Okay? So even, when, even later when we do the prayer of the graduated path, the stages of the path, and we're saying, please bestow on me your blessings to do this and to do that, it's again, not that the Buddha's going to do it for us or make it easy for us, but this is our heartfelt wish to do this. And we want to be connected to the Buddha when we do it, and we realize that the Buddha has, that we feel inspired by the Buddha. Yeah? And since in our life we're so used to putting everything outside of us, this is a very skillful way of using that ordinary tendency we have to put something outside of us in a skillful way. Visualize the Buddha, request the Buddha, and then the Buddha dissolves back in. Okay, so it's not totally outside, we're projecting and then dissolving back into us. Okay.